Hello everybody, my name is MaxCool858 and thank you for joining me today. I want to talk about a game that has gotten a lot of negative hate and quickly became one of 2020's most hated games. That's right, I would like to talk about the infamous CyberPunk 2077. However, rather than continue on the hate train and talk negatively about the game, I would like to focus on the positive and the potential revival of the game in the future, and what I would do to fix the game. Maybe this is just me, but the game receives more hate than it should. Sure, the hype for this game was insane, and the developers lied about a lot of the aspects for the game. And the CEO did approve it to be launched even if it wasn't ready. And the game was horrible for old generations. And okay, I know how it sounds, but to me, all this just means is that the game was released before it could fully reach its potential, meaning there's still hope for this game to fully become the game we all wanted. I mean, come on, if an indie company like Hello Games can save No Man's Sky, you think a AAA company that made the Witcher franchise can't? Here are some of the things that I would change that could make the game more fun and replayable. Now, it's worth noting, my emphasis here to fix the game will revolve around making it more immersive and more replayable for the player, because these are some of the two things that this game primarily lacked, despite it being an open world RPG that was based off a tabletop role-playing game. The big problem that people have with this game was the bugs. And yes, it's unacceptable for a game to launch with this many bugs, but to completely hate this game because of just that? I can recall so many other games that were launched full of bugs. Here's a few just to jog your memory. Now, if I told you to look back at those games, are you going to tell me that they're bad games? Are you seriously going to tell me that you think Skyrim is a terrible game? Or Battlefield 4? No, of course not. But they had really rough launches, borderline unbearable. But through time, they fixed their mistakes and are now remembered as timeless classics. Now, I'm not justifying broken launches, because that is a serious problem in modern gaming, but simply to show you that there is hope for this game. Putting bugs aside, I want to look at the core of CyberPunk and what makes it so flawed. My biggest pet peeve with the game, from the first day I played it, was the map. When you finally enter the open world, the map immediately gives you the locations to every single objective, every shop, every point of interest, and every side mission. This was a big issue for me. I was really excited to explore the beautiful city and explore every shop, every dark alley, every potential area where I could find a random encounter or side mission. But instead, I can just see where it is on the map. It completely ruins the sense of exploration and the huge element for RPGs. Do you remember playing Fallout 3 for the first time and instantly just knowing where Megaton was? Or how about Fallout 4 and going straight to the Institute and killing him? I mean, even in a Ubisoft game, you have to find the watchtowers first in order to see the point of interest. This completely ruined the immersion for me, and I felt no need at all to explore the city, which was really disappointing. But fortunately, this can be fixed very easily. Just don't show the damn locations at the very beginning. Let players have fun and spend hours exploring the beautiful cities CD Projekt Red worked so hard on. Not only that, this would also encourage replayability. You would be able to make a new character and have to find all these locations again. You'll remember some places, but you'll forget others, and that will make the new experience feel more fresh and fun for the player. Moving on, I felt like the game lacked shop immersion. Food vendors felt scarce around the city, and when you did eventually find one, it was just to buy food for your inventory. There's also no place around the city to just sit and enjoy the scenery. What I'm talking about is some form of emotes. Of course not emotes like Fortnite, though that would be very funny to see. I'm talking about sitting animations around the city, or in bars, or an eating, drinking animation for food. Being able to just sit at a restaurant, how hard is that? And what makes things worse is that all of this stuff is already in the game, except it only happens in the main story campaign. Yeah, it makes the campaign really immersive, but what about the open world? Why didn't they just include all those animations in the actual city? Even if it's something small and doesn't really do much to the actual game, it can help create a better role-playing experience and make the city more interactive. One of my favorite things to do in Fallout is to just sit around Emerald City and appreciate the world around me. It's a small thing, really, but this is a role-playing game, and stuff like that can really make you enjoy the world much more. Speaking of creating a more immersive world, please add a third-person mode. This one's simple, really. By having a third-person mode, we can really appreciate the gear and clothing we worked so hard to get. And I know that they said they wanted a first person specifically for their immersion, but it kinda does the opposite. And yes, on PC you can already use a third person mod, but this needs to be added to the base game too. V's apartment is also lacking more. To me, the apartment should feel like a safe place to unwind after fighting missions all day. But what's the point in returning back home if it offers nothing? When I played the game, I found myself returning back just for the role-playing sake, but it always felt empty. And I know they said they had multiple apartments planned, but had to scrap the idea due to time restrictions. So this one could still happen as DLC, where you can buy multiple apartments and hopefully customize your home within it. Games like Skyrim and Fallout do a great job at letting you place your items around your home. It's such an insignificant detail, but it makes your home feel more personal to you, something V's apartment doesn't have. This next one might be harder to pull off, but the city should have more obvious landmarks, recognizable areas that you always go back to. I mention this because despite the city feeling like an actual lively city, so props on that CD Projekt Red, there's no areas that really stand out. It all sort of feels equal. This might work in a real life city, but in a video game city, there needs to be areas where you feel compelled to return to. Something I would suggest is maybe adding more events to places such as Jig Jig Street. In this such case, maybe more Joy Toys or strip clubs, more bars. This area can now really stand out as the party center in the whole map, making it more of an obvious spot for players to unwind. The game tries to do this, but isn't strong enough and falls short. These last few suggestions are quicker and smaller, but they can add to the overall experience, such as the ability to play music anywhere. The soundtrack is amazing, but it's so restrictive to playing only in cars. I mean, if you're a literal walking computer / human cyborg, why wouldn't you be able to play music out of your head? More cars and people crowding the city would help it feel more alive. And this one might not be technically possible on old generations, but PS5 and Xbox Series X should have no excuse. So we could probably see this with the next gen upgrade releasing later this year. More fun things to do in the city. As mentioned earlier, more bars, more partying, more minigames. Things to do for when you're not itching for a fight. Otherwise, you're only playing the game to finish the story, instead of playing to experience the city. This can also help the player feel more rewarded and tempted to take time off after maybe fighting a boss or doing side missions. It can also allow for more ways to spend your hard-earned eddies on luxuries that isn't only cars. This can easily be added as extra DLC, so I'm hoping they're working on this for the future. And that about covers it. I know these suggestions can't fix it completely, and there's a lot of other stuff that needs work, but personally, this is what I would focus on to win players back and show them that it's fun to be in the city, to keep them invested in coming back for more, at least until more problems get fixed. Now, I don't know how easy it is to do any of this stuff, but I would hope CD Projekt Red is focusing hard on improving all this stuff. I still have hope for this game. And after all, remember, this game has only been out for like 6 or 7 months, and since then, we've been getting constant bug fixes. I feel as a community, it's okay to feel disappointed by the current state of the game, but instead of criticizing it and hating the developers, we should show support and be more understanding. and hope that they learn from their mistakes and fix what could be one of the best games ever made. Hey, thank you for watching my video. If you enjoyed any of the following, my thoughts on the game, the art in the background, or just the vibe overall, please consider leaving me a like, sub, bell, and a share. Thanks for watching.